Imagine dedicating your life to freeing your country, only for the dictatorship to label you a criminal and threaten to imprison you. This is the reality for Maria Corina Machado, Venezuela's fearless opposition leader. Welcome to our channel. Before we get started, if you haven't already, be sure to check out the first 3 videos in our Once Upon a Time in Venezuela saga, where we explored the tumultuous history of Venezuela through Chavez, Maduro, and the clear dictatorship the country is going through right now. Today we dive into the incredible story of Maria Corina Machado, a name that resonates with courage, resilience, and unyielding determination. As one of Venezuela's most prominent opposition leaders, we'll explore her journey to becoming the face of Venezuela's resistance against authoritarianism, the challenges she has faced, and the brilliant strategies she's employed to outsmart one of the world's most repressive regimes. Early life and education. Maria Corina Machado was born on October 7, 1967, in Caracas, Venezuela, into a family with deep roots in the country's history and economy. Her father, Enrique Machado Zuloaga, was a prominent businessman who played a significant role in the industrial sector, particularly in the steel industry, and her mother, Corina Parisca, was also from a distinguished family. Growing up in an environment of privilege, Machado had access to some of the best educational opportunities available in Venezuela. From an early age, Machado exhibited a keen intellect and a strong sense of responsibility towards her country. She attended the prestigious Colegio Santiago de León de Caracas, where she excelled academically. Her upbringing instilled in her a deep respect for education, hard work, and civic duty. These values would later become the foundation of her political and social activism. After completing her primary and secondary education, Machado pursued a degree in industrial engineering at the Universidad Católica Andrés Bello, one of Venezuela's leading universities. UCAB is known for its rigorous academic standards and emphasis on ethics and social responsibility, which aligned perfectly with Machado's growing interest in public service and national development. She graduated with honors, demonstrating her analytical skills and her ability to excel in a challenging academic environment. Eager to broaden her knowledge and equip herself with the tools necessary for leadership, Machado continued her education abroad. She pursued studies at 2 of the most prestigious institutions in the United States, the Yale World Fellows Program at Yale University and the Women in Public Policy Program at Harvard University. These programs are designed to develop global leaders and policy experts, and Machado's participation in them reflects her commitment to enhancing her understanding of global political dynamics and public policy. Her time at these institutions allowed her to network with other international leaders, gain a deeper understanding of democratic governance, and refine her strategic thinking, skills that would prove crucial in her political career. Entry into activism and politics. Machado's transition from academia to activism was driven by her deep concern for the direction in which Venezuela was heading under the leadership of Hugo Chavez. The early 2000s were a period of significant political turmoil in Venezuela, marked by Chavez's increasingly authoritarian rule and his efforts to centralize power. Machado, who had been closely observing these developments, decided that it was time to take action. In 2002, Maria Corina Machado co-founded Sumate, a non-governmental organization dedicated to promoting democracy, transparency, and electoral integrity in Venezuela. Sumate was born out of a collective recognition that the country's democratic institutions were under threat and that there was a need for civil society to play a more active role in safeguarding these institutions. The organization quickly became a beacon of hope for many Venezuelans who were disillusioned with the government's authoritarian tendencies. Sumate's mission was to empower citizens to participate actively in the democratic process, ensuring that their voices were heard and that elections were conducted fairly. One of the organization's most significant initiatives was its role in organizing the 2004 recall referendum against President Hugo Chavez. This referendum was a crucial moment in Venezuelan history as it represented one of the few opportunities for the public to challenge Chavez's increasingly autocratic rule. The recall referendum was a massive undertaking that required extensive mobilization of resources, volunteers, and public support. Under Machado's leadership, Sumate worked tirelessly to ensure that the referendum process was transparent and that the will of the people was respected. However, the referendum ultimately did not succeed in removing Chavez from power, as the results were marred by allegations of fraud and manipulation. Despite this setback, the effort marked the beginning of Maria Corina Machado's prominent role in Venezuelan politics. Sumate's commitment to electoral transparency and citizen participation made it a target for the Chavez government. The organization faced intense scrutiny and legal harassment, with the government accusing it of being a tool of foreign interests, particularly the United States. Machado herself was charged with conspiracy and treason. charges that were widely viewed as politically motivated attempts to silence her and discredit Sumat. These charges only served to strengthen her resolve and solidify her status as a key opposition figure. Political career and opposition leadership. In 2010, Maria Corina Machado took a decisive step into formal politics by running for and winning a seat in the National Assembly, representing the state of Miranda. Her election to the National Assembly marked a new chapter in her career as she transitioned from activist to legislator. Machado's entry into the Assembly was met with high expectations, as many saw her as a powerful voice for democratic principles and a counterbalance to the Chavez regime. As a member of the National Assembly, Machado quickly established herself as one of the most vocal and fearless critics of the Chavez government. She was unafraid to challenge the regime's policies, often speaking out against the erosion of democratic institutions, human rights abuses, and the concentration of power in the executive branch. Her speeches in the Assembly were marked by their clarity, conviction, and unwavering commitment to the principles of democracy and the rule of law. One of Machado's most significant contributions during her time in the National Assembly was her work on human rights issues. Her advocacy extended beyond Venezuela's borders as she sought to raise international awareness of the human rights crisis in the country. Machado's outspoken nature inevitably led to several confrontations with the government, and she became a target of the regime's repression. In 2014, she was expelled from the National Assembly after she accepted an invitation to speak at a meeting of the Organization of American States in Washington, D.C. During her speech, she denounced the Venezuelan government's human rights abuses and called for greater international pressure on the Maduro regime. The government responded by stripping her of her parliamentary immunity and accusing her of treason. Physical attacks and persecution. Maria Corina Machado's outspoken stance against the government did not come without significant personal risks. Over the years, she has been the victim of several physical attacks, orchestrated by regime supporters, which highlighted the dangers faced by opposition leaders in Venezuela. One of the most notorious attacks occurred in 2012, during a visit to the National Assembly. Machado, along with other opposition legislators, was physically assaulted by pro-government supporters within the Assembly chambers. The attack left her with injuries, and images of her bloodied face became symbols of the violent repression faced by those who dared to oppose the regime. These attacks were not isolated incidents. On several occasions, Machado was subjected to harassment and violence by government-affiliated groups, known as colectivos, who were notorious for intimidating and attacking opposition figures. Despite the constant threats to her safety, Machado refused to back down. Her resilience in the face of physical danger only furthered her reputation as a courageous leader who was willing to sacrifice her own well-being for the cause of democracy. Despite the physical and political persecution, Maria Corina Machado remained undeterred. Her ability to maintain her composure and dignity in the face of such adversity further endeared her to the Venezuelan people and the international community. Machado's leadership during this period was characterized by her emphasis on the need for a united opposition. She understood that the only way to effectively challenge the Maduro regime was through a cohesive and coordinated effort among the various opposition factions. To this end, she played a key role in the formation of the Mesa de la Unidad Democrática, or MUD, a coalition of opposition parties and organizations. The MUD aimed to present a united front in elections and to coordinate strategies for challenging the government's policies. Under Machado's guidance, the opposition movement became more organized and focused, with a clear strategy for achieving political change through peaceful means. Her leadership was instrumental in maintaining the morale of the opposition during a time of great uncertainty and fear. She consistently advocated for a peaceful transition to democracy, rejecting calls for violence and insisting that the struggle for Venezuela's future must be waged with integrity and respect for human rights. In the years that followed, Maria Corina Machado's role in the opposition only grew more prominent. She became a symbol of resistance against the Maduro regime, representing the hopes and aspirations of millions of Venezuelans who longed for a return to democratic governance. Her ability to articulate the struggles and desires of the Venezuelan people, combined with her strategic thinking and unwavering commitment to peaceful resistance, solidified her status as one of the most respected and influential figures in Venezuelan politics. In the lead-up to the 2024 Venezuelan presidential elections, Maria Corina Machado emerged as a formidable candidate widely regarded as a beacon of hope for millions of Venezuelans yearning for change. Her platform centered around restoring democracy, combating corruption, and addressing the dire humanitarian crisis gripping the country. Her campaign gained significant momentum, and her popularity soared as she toured the nation, connecting with citizens and advocating for a free and prosperous Venezuela. However, her candidacy was met with fierce resistance from the ruling regime. In a move that many saw as politically motivated, the Venezuelan government banned Machado from running for president, citing various legal and administrative reasons that were widely criticized as baseless and undemocratic. This ban was an attempt to stifle her growing influence and prevent a genuine democratic challenge to the Maduro regime. Strategic response and leadership of the opposition. Rather than retreating, Maria Corina Machado responded to this ban with remarkable poise and strategic acumen. Understanding the importance of maintaining a unified opposition, she quickly shifted her focus from her personal candidacy to ensuring that the opposition movement remained strong and cohesive. Her ability to pivot and adapt to this new reality underscored her deep understanding of the political landscape and her commitment to the greater cause of Venezuela's freedom. Machado took on the role of rallying the opposition, uniting various factions, and consolidating her position as the de facto leader of the anti-Maduro movement. Her leadership was marked by a clear vision, articulate communication, and a steadfast commitment to nonviolent resistance. She worked tirelessly to keep the opposition focused on the ultimate goal of restoring democracy, even as the regime intensified its efforts to suppress dissent. One of the most notable aspects of Maria Corina Machado's strategy was her comprehensive plan to prevent electoral fraud. Aware of the regime's history of manipulating election results, Machado developed a sophisticated and transparent system designed to safeguard the integrity of the electoral process. Her plan involved several key components. First, independent ballot collection. Machado proposed a system in which ballots would be independently collected by a trusted network of volunteers and civil society organizations. This was intended to create an additional layer of oversight and ensure that votes were accurately counted. Second, digitalization of ballots. Recognizing the importance of transparency, Machado advocated for the digitalization of all ballots. This would involve scanning and uploading each ballot to a secure database, ensuring that every vote was recorded and could be verified. Third, public access and verification. The digitalized ballots would be published on a publicly accessible website, allowing citizens, observers, and international organizations to independently verify the results. This level of transparency was unprecedented and aimed at preventing the regime from altering the outcome of the election. And fourth, real-time monitoring. Machado also proposed real-time monitoring of the election process, using both domestic and international observers to ensure that any irregularities were immediately reported and addressed. This would involve the use of modern technology to track and document the voting process across the country. Throughout her political career, Maria Corina Machado has consistently emphasized the importance of civilized and peaceful resistance. Even in the face of immense provocation and violence from the regime, she has advocated for non-violent methods to achieve political change. Her approach is deeply rooted in the belief that lasting change can only come through peaceful means, and that resorting to violence would undermine the very principles of democracy and human rights that she seeks to uphold. Her intelligence and foresight are evident in the way she prepares for every situation. Machado understands that the regime thrives on chaos and conflict, and she has worked diligently to deprive them of the opportunity to delegitimize the opposition through violence. Her strategy is one of moral authority, positioning the opposition as the rightful representatives of the Venezuelan people's will for freedom and democracy. Maria Corina Machado's leadership in the face of adversity has left an indelible mark on Venezuela's political landscape. She has shown that even when faced with insurmountable odds, it is possible to fight for what is right through intelligence, strategy, and an unyielding commitment to principles. Her ability to navigate the complexities of Venezuelan politics, while maintaining a peaceful and civilized approach, has made her a respected figure not only in Venezuela, but also on the international stage. Machado's actions during the last elections highlight her deep understanding of the challenges facing Venezuela and her capacity to develop innovative solutions to address them. By focusing on transparency, accountability, and the power of collective action, she has offered a blueprint for how democratic forces can overcome authoritarianism, even in the most difficult circumstances. In conclusion, Maria Corina Machado's journey in the most recent elections is a powerful example of leadership, resilience, and intelligence. Her efforts to prevent electoral fraud, unite the opposition, and maintain a peaceful resistance movement demonstrate her profound commitment to Venezuela's future. Machado's legacy will undoubtedly inspire future generations of Venezuelans to continue the fight for democracy with the same courage and conviction that she has shown throughout her career.